If you're anything like me, I really enjoy finding out how things work. And I have a whole lot of diesel engines. Well, let me back up. I'm going to tell you the story first, then I'll get into the video. About a month ago, a good friend of mine who lives most of his life on a boat out off of the Gulf of Mexico, he's a very talented mechanic. Well, he came back to visit his family, and COVID hit, and he got stuck, and he can't get back to his boat. And came over to visit me, and he says, "What are you going to do with that old Bobcat over there?" And I told him, I said, "Oh, I smoke so bad, I can't even use it anymore." So he says to me, "Well, let's rebuild it." I said, "I don't know how to rebuild it. It'd cost me too much money." He says, "I'll do it for you. He says, just pay me a fair price, and we'll get it done." And he talked me into it. Because honestly, I had a little bit of a dilemma there, because I was thinking to myself, how much money do I want to put into that old Bobcat? It was a good Bobcat. I bought it in 1990, so I've had this thing for over 30 years. It started smoking so bad, and I kind of parked it, and it's really not, it hasn't seen more than maybe an hour's work in the last 5 or 6 years. So I was kind of perplexed. I thought, well, what am I going to do with it? So he talked me into it, and I said, okay, let's do it. And frankly, the whole time I was thinking to myself, am I wasting my money? Am I throwing away good money to get this old machine working? But then the other side of me kept saying, but you really want it to work, because it's a really valuable tool. All right, long story short, my friend Ted decided that he's going to rebuild this thing. I'm going to help him. But the most important thing is, he's going to teach me all about how a diesel engine works. I got a vague idea, but I'm not a mechanic. So I'm smart enough to know what it means to adjust the valves, or, work on the rings, or work on something that, is part of the engine. But I've never dug into it. I've never gone all the way down and basically dissected an engine. So this video is for those of you who have never done this sort of thing but want to know how to do it. This isn't a how-to, but it's going to show you the inner workings of a diesel engine. This is just a 4-cylinder engine, but the concept is the same. No matter how big or how small, all diesel engines work pretty much the same, with a few exceptions. This particular engine it doesn't have a turbocharger, but it is fuel injected. So hope you like this. It's not a tree video per se, but you know what? We all have tools we have to work with. And skid steer tractors are a valuable tool. So check it out. I didn't decide to start videoing this until after the engine was out. And when we got it out, I thought, oh, crap. Some mechanic along the way, whether I hired him or whether it was before I got it, it was only a year old when I bought this, so it could have been before I owned it. Somebody dropped a wrench in there or something that caused significant damage.
Okay.
So we're just replacing number 4.
Yeah, that's it.
The rest of them are in great shape.
Yeah.
But that one was messed up.
I talked to 4 other guys, because, number 4 always wears twice as fast as the other ones does. Because that's where the power goes through.
This is the bad one, huh?
Yeah. And it isn't even that bad.
Well,
but
it was smoking like a mother.
Yeah, and on top of that, that's the one that wears, and it just takes one oil ring going bad makes the whole thing pump like crazy.
So this seal right here, it's an O-ring that keeps the water out of the oil, and this has got to be cleaned really, really good. So I've been working on this for a long time.
Clean.
You get a little
time, enjoy the day.
Yeah, the water corrosion in here is bad.
Yeah. So it's called sulfation.
This is the main seal here.
Uh-huh.
There's your water pump. I'm learning a lot here, Tim.
Yeah. It's your first engine rebuild, right?
I've never completely rebuilt an engine. I've helped people on different aspects of it, but I've never torn it all the way down.
And we're not a full tape down, but
and this is called your rocker arm, correct?
Yeah.
This is what the valves get pushed up and down.
Yeah, it's your rocker assembly.
Rocker assembly. And these are the what do you call these? The valve rods? Is that the correct name for these?
Push rods.
Push rods. Okay.
Oh, there we go. Nice and light. Nice and light.
Good job.
It's nice and just tap it in place. Don't use a sledgehammer.
Did you change out those bearings yet? I mean,
No.
okay.
I'll leave this in.
Did you change out the top one?
No, the top one's fine.
Okay.
It's bushing.
This, you're going to change that one
Yeah.
out, huh?
Yeah. You know that it's circlip seated. If it's not seated, then it may come out and cause major destruction.
Okay. And you've got these little holes right here where
Yeah.
the oil pumps into the...
The oil is splashed. Oil splashes up from the crank and everything, and it goes into these holes here. And then the oil actual
That's what lubricates the rings.
yeah lubricates the rings, and then the oil scrapes the oil back down. It's amazing how an engine can run so much and not blow
Blow up, huh?
blow oil through the. You have the compression rings are here.
Okay.
The oil ring is here, and it scrapes the oil back down again, and it does it incredibly efficiently for how long these things last. I mean, these things don't use hardly any oil at all. It's amazing.
Well, this engine is 31 years old.
And it sustains itself. It doesn't burn up all the oil until it gets really old. It wasn't the right analogy, but I've been into chickens lately.
Well, we got some old ones over there if you want to cook.
It's just
cook one.
amazing how a chicken can feed itself and feed us at the same time. Yeah.
Anyway, this is my friend Ted.
Yeah, hey.
I've known Ted a long time. Ted and I used to climb together back in the 70s. Tree work.
80s.
80s?
80s,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. You're not that old. Yeah, you're 61. I'm 67.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're working on this.
It's a Kubota. It's a 37 horsepower, 1.8 liter diesel.
Okay. So we got the head back.
Head back, it's all flat. We had some water impingement here on a number 4 cylinder.
Okay, so
This
that's
is the piston we're replacing.
all the beating on here is because it has some water
It had
that
some
was
water
leaking
leakage
in
that
there.
would cause us to wear faster. It's probably why you were leaking.
But it'll still work that way.
Yeah, it's just fine. These are your pre-combustion chambers here, and the glow plugs come in on the other side, inside here. The pistons come up flat, so there's almost no combustion area. That's why it's so high compression.
Okay, so
Now-
show me how the valves work.
Now here's your valves here. You know,
Okay,
there's,
so you've taken one apart already.
yeah.
You've taken the spring off. You
Yeah.
took the clip off.
Yeah, and then we're putting in the new valves. It's all done, but they didn't put the valve stem seals. They weren't the right ones. So I got the right ones here that fits in kind of like this over the top of that. And it prevents oil from coming down the valve guide. We got new valve guides and everything, which is the whole heart of the whole, you know.
Okay, that was the biggest part of our problem, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The valve guides were worn out.
4 of them were loose in the head.
So oil was seeping into the cylinders,
and burning.
that's why it was smoking so badly.
That's right.
Okay, so
And then your injectors were all worn out and messed up and other problems from age and use and that kind of stuff.
okay,
So now we're gonna put in the new valve stem goes on top of here.
all right.
You can see how it fits over that. Take a little.
What are you looking for?
Where is it? Here it is, right here. Which is on there, and tap it down. So now that the valve is seated, the valve stem is seated over that.
Does it close all the way? Yeah.
Yeah.
So every one of these valves were reground, and the inside of the surface was reground.
Yeah. You
So
can see
that
there's the valve seat, and there's a couple different angles of grinding they do, so it fits right. You know, so it seals every time. There's no leakage.
I sure hope they did a good job.
Oh, they did. They've done work for me for many years. I just didn't.
So he took this head to a machine shop. They did all the work for us.
Yeah.
They replaced all of these. These are the freeze plugs, right?
These plugs, yeah, they're all done. These are your exhaust, and these are your intake.
Okay, the exhaust is larger than the intake,
Ah, yes.
and every one of them is numbered. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
they're all
kinda
numbered. You
cool.
can see how they put them all in just
Good.
8-1. And so I'm gonna put this here back on again.
Oh, you borrowed this special tool here.
Yeah,
huh?
from my brother-in-law, who's a mechanical kind of guy. Put this back on. over the valve.
Oops. Need help? Is this a two-person job?
Not really, no, it's a one-person job. Let me just lay it on its side.
Yeah, the way you had it before, it looked like it worked better.
Yeah. There we go. I'm a little rusty doing this because I haven't done it for a while. You want to push that little lever down?
So it is a two-person job.
It is right now. A little bit rusty.
All right, you want to...
Okay, go ahead and push it all the way up.
Okay,
There, now it's locked in place.
So all that does is that compresses the spring,
Right.
so that you can
I put the collets. It's called collets.
Okay.
There's two collets, and they lock in on the thing here, and you release it very slowly.
Do those lock it in place? And that's not in all the way.
No, it's not in all the way, but it will be.
Okay. Oh, it just snaps in place like that.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's two.
Okay. So
Do
you got the first two done?
Yeah. Keep going here. Normally the shop would do this themselves, but they didn't have the right ones, so they just left them out. And so we're doing it ourselves. Otherwise, I have to take it back to the shop, and we get it back maybe after Christmas or kind of thing. So we'll go ahead and.
We're doing a lot of work getting everything all cleaned up.
Here's the timing cover here.
Yeah.
And here's the. You got to make things really, really clean because you got O-rings that fit in here. This is for the O-rings for the oil that comes through.
Right.
And here's the O-ring for the water.
You know, with the sun on it, I can see I still got a little bit of white corrosion
you
in there.
Really, you clean it again, wire brush it, clean it again. And
I got in there with a knife and I
yeah.
scraped it all the way around. But
That's
that's
right.
got to be so good because if you get any
Scrupulously clean.
water infiltrating into the oil,
oh, it's a bad deal.
that screws everything up.
Yeah. You'll have overheating problems. The water in your oil and everything.
All right, Ted, explain to me here.
Oh,
This main one here is the main shaft.
This is the main shaft here. It's the counter shaft sprocket that drives the oil pump.
Okay, that bottom was the oil pump.
Yeah, the bottom's the oil pump. Is the main drive shaft, main
So
crankshaft.
if the oil pump goes out, you got to take the whole engine out, right?
No. This is external. You can pick the pump out. You know, it's not below. Like most engines are down below. This motor is on the front, like a Volvo.
Okay.
Or a Saab. You know,
Not easy to get to when it's in place, though.
But you can do it in place. You can replace this oil pump without taking the engine out.
Okay.
And this is your intermediate gear. And it runs your camshaft that runs your valves, and the other gear runs your fuel injection pump. All gear driven.
And what's the middle one?
It drives the other two.
Okay.
It's an idler sprocket.
Got it.
The countershaft sprocket off the engine drives the oil pump, and the intermediate sprocket which drives the cam and the fuel injection. So they're all integral, you know, but they all runs together on the spec. That's a little timing thing.
What you got there? Torque wrench.
Okay, here we go. This has a torque wrench. This is a 1/2 inch, with a reducer on it. There's 18 bolts here, and you want to snug them up in a gradual pattern, like snug and 20 foot-pounds of torque, 40. This is a 65 maximum. So you want to start in the center and work your way around. It's best to have yourself a diagram from the factory, but mostly it's start in the center and work around in a spiral pattern going out. And then so you don't go all at once. You go, snug with a wrench, and then 25, 40, 60, 65.
And 65 is the ultimate.
Yeah, ultimate. We're at 65 now.
Okay.
Hold your arm down nice and don't twist it. Get nice and straight down. Pull it nice and straight. There we go.
Okay,
Click.
It makes that click. That's it.
Okay,
two clicks. Here, let me hold the motor.
Yeah. Well, when you torque the head, it has to go down evenly. You got this masses of steel, and it has to be exactly perfect. And if you drew down one side too fast to the other, it has to go from the center and to go out. And then,
so basically what you're doing is you're distributing the force in an even pattern up to an equal force all the way around.
Yeah, in 3 separate steps.
So if you were to start on this side and then go to that side, basically, in exaggerated form, the metal would
it wouldn't
warp.
torque down in the bottom on the other side properly.
Yeah.
It'd be pulled up on one side. It has to go in the center in a spiral pattern. Usually get the diagram from the factory, but essentially it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, kind of like that, in a zigzag spiral outgoing pattern. And you don't do it all at once. You do like snug, which is 15 pounds, maybe 25, 40, 60. You know, at least 3 steps. I mean, this only has 18 bolts. My Perkins had 28 bolts.
28, huh?
It was a bigger motor too. It was another 40 cubic inches bigger than this. This is 1.7, almost 2 liters. My Perkins was 3 liters. This is your lifters are down here. This is your tappets, and these
This is called the rocker arm assembly.
Yeah, and then it has it hooks up in with the push rods. It's an old style unit, very simple. You know, you put it down, hook up the rockers into there. So I still have to give them a little shot of oil, so you know. I put them all down, and these are set between 5 and 7 thousandths.
So then you have to put these.
You have to crank these down with the nuts.
And then when you do the valve adjustment, that's when you have to put the feeler gauge underneath the valve.
That's right.
And adjust this so that they're all at the right. Oop, came off.
That's right. That's correct.
Do these push rods ever pop off?
Oh no! Once you crank it down, they're under pressure. Right now, this whole thing is lifted up. When I crank these down, some of these valves start opening up because the cam is in a certain position where some valves are open, some valves are not. Okay. But I have to you know, bolt it down first.
It's got a ways to go, doesn't it?
Yeah. You crank it down under pressure.
Okay.
Just got to find the right nuts. Right here. Yeah. Got the injection lines on.
Okay, this is the fuel pump.
The injection pump.
The injection pump.
Fuel pump's here.
Okay, that's the fuel pump that runs it up to the injection pump.
Yeah, that's the fuel injection.
Okay.
It pressurizes everything to 1500 psi. Opens up the little piston side here. Runs on a cam. Runs off the timing gear. And it runs up, and it pumps the pressure up to from 7 psi to 1500. And then as it comes up, it pumps up each one a little bit higher as the cam rotates around, and it causes the spring on the injector to open, and a predetermined amount of fuel goes through. As this determines how much fuel you give it by the throttle.
Okay, so each injector operates independent.
Yeah.
So now we're ready to do the valve adjustment.
Yeah.
Right.
Sliding fit.
Okay, we're adjusting the valves now.
I sliding it's 5 thousandths. We're going to go 5 and 7.
So the purpose of the valve adjustment is to have a slight little bit of gap so that the valve shuts. And we're doing it between 5 and 7 thousandths, which is what it says in the manual there. And everyone has to be adjusted because we had all these valves reground. So it's very important that none of these things are too tight, otherwise you
too loose.
Or too loose, yeah.
Just a little bit, just according to spec.
Okay, so we went top dead center by rotating the flywheel.
You can check it on the front, and it's set.
Okay. It's probably harder to do while this is in the motor, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which one are you doing? 5 or
exhaust?
7? Yeah, I know that's the exhaust valve, but the spec is 5 to 7 on all of them?
Yes, I'm going to do like a Perkins. Make the exhaust valves, since they run hotter, run them a little bit looser. 5 and 7, 5 and 7, 5 and 7, 5 and 7.
All right.
Okay, now we do number 2. This is number 1.
So now I got to rotate this to find.
Okay, this is. Watch this one to go down first.
Okay.
Down, intake. Now it's coming up. TDC. That's boom. Okay, back it off. Back it off. Up. Back it off. Back it off. Back it off. Right there. Right there. Right there. Put it back.
There's a mark over there that says top dead center?
Yeah, back it a little bit. Right.
Okay.
Right there. Right there. Okay. Then go down 4.
All right. We are almost there.
Yeah.
Almost
We're
ready to put it back in.
We're ready to stuff it.
Stuff it back in.
We're stuff it. When you pull a mast, you pick it, then you stab it.
This isn't a mast. This is a motor, my friend.
Same kind of thing. You stuff it. You don't replace. You just stuff it in there.
All right. Okay, we got the wood. What? Oh shoot! We're gonna have to scoot because that one is going to hit the. Oh, it's got to scoot over that way just a little bit.
All right. Once it's in place,
It's going to hit the outrigger.
There.
Yeah.
Scoot a little bit. Up a little bit.
Huh?
Up a little bit. About 2 inches up.
Okay.
Go down some more.
I wonder if we can go up with that whole mechanism here. This whole thing lifts up.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. We had it
That would get us up there.
Yeah, that's what you gotta do. Use your crowbar and a wedge.
Ready?
The top's high, the bottom's low. Once we're in, a little more.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
We're supported by the little more.
Okay. Here's where we got a problem because I remember we needed this to have right here. Remember, to get it come up and make sure this lifted.
That's right.
So let's put some spaces.
I'm almost ready to pull off that motor mount and put it in place.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think it makes sense.
Yeah, go ahead and pull that motor out first, and we can put it back in once it's in there.
Yeah, I do believe so.
I think that this motor mount's going to mess with us.
Yeah, and we can lift it up in place with a pry bar.
Yeah, you're right. All right, it's in.
Yeah.
It went in place. Now we just have to fasten down the motor mounts. We've got a couple of wedges here to keep it up off so we can move it in.
Yeah, it's stuffed.
So now it's a matter of reconnecting all the little electrical components and the throttle and the shut
stop
off.
gear, and that kind of stuff.
Put the battery in there.
And fill it with oil.
You think we had to put oil in there?
Fill it with oil. Yeah, fill it with oil. That's why I didn't put the filter on yet. I wanted, can you imagine trying to start it up with no oil in it?
Oh, there it comes. There it comes. All right.
Okay, now we have a proper thing.
All right, Ted. Are you ready for this? Moment of truth. Wait, wait, wait. I got to go look at the engine when you start it. Give it the glow plugs. Go ahead.
Glow plugs on.
Start her up.
Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go right.
A little bit of an exhaust leak right there. Idle it all the way down. Nice.
Never idle like that.
Never idled like that before in its life, for as long as I've owned it. Hey, good job, Ted. Thank you. All right, down to the final question. Was it worth it to put all that effort into this motor on this old machine? Well, I kind of have mixed feelings because it did end up costing me a whole hell of a lot more than I thought. A big problem was that the Kubota engine that's in there, Bobcat has the rights to sell all the parts to it, and Bobcat jacks up the prices extortionately. As I said earlier, the pistons alone were $150 each, and the set of the 3 rings were another $160. So it was like, with tax, it was like $325 per individual piston. So we did cut some corners. We just decided to fix what we found wrong rather than going through into a total engine rebuild. As it turns out, you know, with all the components, including, you know, new oil and new hydraulic fuel and all the filters and the air filter and all the components and the machining and everything, I spent $2,900 on parts and outside services. My friend, who was working for $50 an hour, spent a whole lot more time than I paid him for, but we settled up at $2,200. So I've got just a little bit over $5,000 into fixing this machine, $5,100. Could I have bought another old machine for $5,000 to $6,000 that was in better shape? Possibly. I do know this machine. This particular machine's got some positives. The tires I put on there, they're solid tires, which are, you know, they're flat proof, and there's a lot of money into it. It also has this bucket on the front, which is a modified grapple bucket with the blades on the front to make it like a demo dozer bucket. Works just as good as a demo dozer bucket. It's also a machine that I'm very familiar with. A lot of the new machines have, you know, all the thumb controls, and this is all manual controls, and I really like the manual controls. So, all said and done, I'm glad I did it. Did it cost more than I thought it would? Yeah, I'm afraid it did. But this day and age, everything costs too much. But anyway, it works. It does smoke a little bit still. Once it gets hot, then the smoke stops, like most diesel engines. But it's going to be a property machine. It does what I want it to do. Hey, thanks for watching. I know that was a really long video, and it's a little bit off topic, but hope you enjoyed it. I hope it gave you a little bit more insight. It certainly helped me out. I learned a heck of a lot. Ted's a great guy. He's a good friend of mine, and he really knows what he's talking about. Thank you. Wait a minute. You're going to show me a knot. It's not a bowline. What's it called?
It's called a 4-deck bowline.
Okay, go ahead. Show me slowly.
Okay. Here's your dead end. Here's your live end. Meaning that's where the rope goes.
Right.
You take your live end, you overhand it up and through. The live end is leading out of your overhand.
Okay.
Put the dead end through the hole.
Right.
Now pull.
All the way
let
through.
the other one go.
Pull it up tight.
That's it.
Oh, that's a good knot.
Yeah, that's it. Done.
Cool.
Most people, they try to go like this. They try to pull it like that. It doesn't work. You have to let it reverse. The knot has to reverse itself. Let me do it again.
All right.
See, if you go like this, if you go like this, like that, it won't work. It has to be.
It's easy not to screw up until you know it.
Until you know it.
Yeah.
As long as the live end is leading out of your overhand, put the other end through, but don't go like this. You just hold one, let it go, and twist it. Right. Reverse it. It reverses the knot.
Good job.